Okay, so I'm finally back on YouTube. For those of you who don't know, I was on holiday in Morocco for about 7 days. Really enjoyed it, but what I didn't enjoy was the fact that I wasn't posting content. I know a lot of you guys may say, JP, you're on holiday, you're meant to relax, you're not really meant to think about your routines and what you usually do, but that was all I could think about. And yet I still didn't post, which I'm really annoyed at myself for. Even though the Wi-Fi out there was terrible, I think I only posted out there once. The Wi-Fi was terrible, but that was still no excuse. I should have posted, I should have stayed consistent. I had pre-recorded content which was taking ages to upload, and that was frustrating me further. So yeah, there was a lot of things that were happening out there. I was doing something every single day. I'd say for the most part, everything's on me. I'm a person who takes extreme accountability, so I do apologize for being away from YouTube for so long. I think last time when I was in South Africa, I didn't post for about 2 weeks. This time round, I haven't posted for about 5 days. So it's a step up from my last trip, but still nevertheless unacceptable because throughout this month, I was trying to stay consistent every single day, and I've skipped out on some days. But anyway, that's enough yap about what I haven't done. Let's talk about what I came here to talk about in the first place, and that is how we are all slaves to Apple in some way, or consumerism in general, but mainly Apple. Now, I don't necessarily know if there's going to be a lesson in today's video, but it's going to be a rant of some sort, okay? So just bear with me, have patience with me. So everyone is always going to have something nicer than the next person. Let's use a chain or watch, for example. One guy might have a nicer watch than the next guy, and then the next guy is obviously going to have a watch that is better than the previous guy. There's always going to be a bigger fish. You're always going to feel like you need something. And I thought this to myself when I was looking through a bunch of Apple products, right? My AirPods, they're in absolutely terrible condition. I've been thinking to myself, I need to grab new AirPods. I deserve new AirPods. And I was thinking to myself, why do they need to be Apple? Why do they need to be Apple? Why? Everyone I know has an iPhone. Everyone I know has Apple products. They refuse to buy from anywhere else. And yet I was sat there thinking to myself, why does it have to be this brand? This brand specifically? What do they have over me? It's so frustrating because each and every single time there's a new Apple product that comes out, or even a new iPhone, there will never be anything wrong with my phone, and yet I have a voice in the back of my head that says, hey, let's upgrade. Now, mind you, I'm currently on the latest version of the iPhone phone chain. I think it's the iPhone 17 Pro. Correct me if I'm wrong, there might be a newer version than that. But that's the version that I'm currently rolling with. And to be honest, I won't look to upgrade my phone for maybe another couple of years. I'm currently paying off this one, and I won't look to upgrade until it is fully paid off. But there's still that voice at the back of my head that says, hey man, we should upgrade. We should get this. We deserve this. And it's not necessarily because there's anything wrong with my phone. There's nothing wrong with my phone. My life wouldn't exactly dramatically improve either. It's just because of the fact that it is new. And for those of you who are watching this video right now, maybe on your iPhones or your Apple products, or maybe you're different, maybe you're not watching on an Apple product at all. And if that is the case, then salute to you, because billions upon billions are too committed towards the cause. I'm one of them, but we're not including me. Anyway, it doesn't just stop with Apple. It happens with cars, phones, watches, houses. You're constantly sold the idea that your happiness is one purchase away. And that mindset is so freaking destructive. You tell yourself the very next big thing that you get will finally make you complete, and it never does. It never does. This circular simulation of consumerism is designed so well that nobody can escape it, ever. Nobody can escape it, ever. It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating because you get something once and you tell yourself that you've wanted this thing for so long, and then maybe you're excited for a week or two, maybe even 3, a month, and then after that month, nothing. You feel nothing. I always say, right, there's 2 types of people in life. There's destination people and then there's journey people. the journey man will always learn to enjoy the process so he can live in the moment, whereas the destination person will always look towards outcomes. They're obsessed with a set outcome. Everything has to go their way or else it's deemed as a failure. And I think that a lot of people who are currently operating within the realms of the circular simulation of consumerism are destination people. There's very few people who can just stop the wheels for a second, take time to look around and say to themselves, hold on, I don't need that thing because what I have is enough. I'm fine with what I have. I don't need to go ahead and grab that. I don't need that in my life because it wouldn't change anything. The problem is with being somebody who's so obsessed with outcomes, so obsessed with the destination, is that your brain is going to move the goalposts each and every single time. You're constantly going to be searching, you're constantly going to be playing this game of carrot and stick. You're always arriving but never quite feel satisfied, and I think that feeling of dissatisfaction is terrible, quite frankly. We all know the feeling of dissatisfaction is terrible, but to endure that constantly, why would you want to do that to yourself? It's this never-ending cycle. You chase, you get, you adapt, you chase again, and I can't help but find it frustrating that we are all stuck in this matrix. I genuinely don't think that you can escape it fully because you will always want something that you don't have. We're not even talking about products anymore. This extends to things outside of just products. Us as human beings, I think it's rooted in our nature. We always want something that we don't have. But if you don't take time to practice the art of gratitude, then you will forever remain depressed, empty almost. You will always arrive at your outcome, your desired destination, but you will never feel like it's enough. Spending a whole life of wanting and never fully appreciating isn't something that sounds appealing to me. I don't know about you, but I'm thinking to some of the things that I have right now that a younger version of me would have dreamed of. For example, the place that I'm currently staying in, my house right now, is a nice area with nice people. Everyone's friendly for the most part. However, a younger version of me wasn't living in a nice place like this. I was living in a pretty crappy place, I'm not going to lie. They're called council estates, right? So probably the lowest of the lowest in the UK. It was the best that my mum could do at the time. But of course, me personally, I was ashamed to let people know that I lived there just because of the reputation of the area and the current state of where I was living. It wasn't so great. Of course, our house was fine, but the outside area wasn't so great. So the younger version of me always wanted to move into a nicer house, not exactly a mansion, but a nicer house, a nicer area, a place where I could tell people I stay here and be okay with it. And the future version of me finally has that. The younger version of me wanted a nicer phone. I've got a nicer phone. He wanted a nicer physique. I've got a better physique. I have all of the things that the younger version of me would have craved. Now that I finally have the things that I've just spoken about, I start to think about them less. I start to talk about them less because now that I have them, as a result of all of those things, right, me constantly wanting, I'm trying to want a lot less. I'm not saying ambition is bad and I'm not demonizing ambition. I'm a very ambitious person, but I think just learn to enjoy what's happening in the present moment. Learn to enjoy the journey above the destination. You don't always have to chase an outcome and you don't always have to want. You don't always have to want. Sometimes you can actually appreciate the things that are around you. Of course, once again, ambition is good, but constant dissatisfaction is exhausting. I don't know how any of you would look forward to a life like that. I've experienced it. I'm sure we've all experienced it. We don't live different lives at all. We're all the same people, but I think that you need to learn to just enjoy the process. I think that is one of the ways that you can escape the circular simulation of consumerism. There's always going to be something bigger and there's always going to be something newer. I think the question to ask yourself is, can you enjoy what you're doing whilst building towards your goals? That's it. can you enjoy the journey? Because honestly, like I said, if you can't do that, you'll get everything that you've ever wanted and still feel like something's missing. So please take this advice on board. I thought that this video was going to take a more rant approach to things. I didn't really think there'd be a lesson in this, but I suppose there is. I suppose that some good things come out of my YAB sessions, and this was one of them. If you guys actually take on this knowledge and apply it to your life, I'm sure it will change in some way. But yeah, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm gonna wrap things up here. If you guys want to join a community full of like-minded people, then I'll leave a link down below in the description, as well as the comment section, to the Kaizen Club. You can communicate with members, and you can communicate with me about absolutely anything at all. So I'd love to have absolutely all of you in there. And yeah, I'll sign out, guys. Take care and God bless.